Welcome to Data Lachue. I'm Paul, coming to you from Brooklyn. Today we're going to read some Rilke. We're going to read the first of his 10 elegies, which he wrote in a famous fit of inspiration. I will be reading from the Galway Kinnell and Hannah Liebmann translation. In this masterful poem, Rilke speaks of our relationship to the angels, to the heavens, to ethereal space. He speaks specifically of sorrow and grief, and how our grief so often is our connection to the angels, is the source of our inspiration. Indeed, how terror and sadness are the source of much beauty. He speaks of the sorrow of unrequited love. He speaks of the sorrow when the young around us have passed away early. He speaks of our need for them, the angels. So here it is, in its entirety, the first elegy by Rainer Maria Rilke. Who, if I screamed out, would hear among the hierarchies of angels? And if one suddenly did take me to his heart, I would perish from his stronger existence. For beauty is nothing but the onset of terror we're still just able to bear, and we admire it so because it calmly disdains to destroy us. Every angel is terrifying. And so I hold back and swallow the lurid call of dark sobbing. Ah, who can we prevail upon to use in our need? Not angels, not humans. And the insightful animals already note we're not very securely at home in the interpreted world. Maybe there remains for us a tree, seen on its hill slope every day as we pass, and yesterday's street, and the indulgent loyalty of a habit that liked being with us and settled in and never left. Oh, and the night when wind full of cosmic space feasts on our face. For whom would she not remain that yearned for, tenderly undeceiving one, who awaits with such travail each solitary heart? Is it easier for lovers? Oh, they use each other to hide themselves from their fate. Don't you know that yet? Fling the emptiness out of your arms into the spaces we breathe, so that in the expanded air birds might feel themselves more inwardly flying. Yes, the springtimes needed you. There were stars counting on you to sense them. A wave rose toward you in the past, or when you walked under an open window, a violin gave itself up to you. All this was commission. Were you up to it? Weren't you always distracted by expectation, as if all these announced the arrival of a beloved? Where will you tuck her away, with all those great strange thoughts going in and out, and often even spending the night? No, when longing fills you, sing of the lovers. Their famed emotion isn't nearly immortal enough. The forsaken ones, whom you almost envy, whom you found so much more loving than the requited. Begin each time anew the praising that is never enough. Remember, heroes live on. Even their downfall was only a way of attaining their final birth. But lovers, nature, exhausted, gathers back into itself, as if lacking the doubled strength to do this for them. Have you memorialized Gaspara Stampa so fully that now any woman whose beloved has eluded her might feel thanks to this lover's heightened example? If only I could be like her. Couldn't this oldest of sufferings finally be for us more fruitful? Isn't it time that lovingly we freed ourselves from our lover, and trembling endured it, as the arrow endures the bowstring, to be collected in its leap-off into more than itself. For staying put is nowhere. Voices, voices, listen, my heart, as otherwise only saints have listened, until the immense call raised them off the ground, and they continued to kneel and notice nothing, these impossible creatures. So completely they listened. Not that you could bear God's voice, not by far. But hear that blowing, its uninterrupted message forming from silence. Now it roars towards you from those who died young. Wherever you entered, in churches in Rome or Naples, didn't their fate quietly speak to you? Or an inscription solemnly commissioned itself to you, as not long ago in that tablet in Santa Maria Formosa? What do they ask of me? That I quietly remove the impression of injustice which at times impedes a little their spirits' pure movement. It's strange, of course, to no longer inhabit the earth. No longer to practice barely learned customs, not to give roses and other auspicious things the meaning of a human future. To be no longer what one was in infinitely anxious hands, and even to put aside one's own name like a broken toy. Strange to no longer keep wishing our wishes, strange to see elements once related flutter loosely in space. And being dead is toilsome and full of the retrieving needed if little by little were to feel a bit of eternity. Yes, but the living are mistaken to draw these distinctions so strictly. Angels, it's said, often don't know if it's the living they move among or the dead. The eternal current hurtles young and old down with it through both realms forever, drowning out their voices in both. In the end, they no longer need us, these early whisked away. Gradually they disaccustom themselves to earth, as a child gently grows away from the mother's breasts. But we, who depend on such deep mysteries, whose blissful progress often springs from sorrow, could we exist without them? Is the legend to no purpose that long ago in the morning for Linos, a daring first music broke through the benumbed desolation, and in the terrified space that an almost godlike youth suddenly quit forever, the void first resonated with the vibration that now enraptures, consoles, and helps us.